Welcome back, everybody, to this episode of Reel to Reel.
You.
Okay, I was waiting for some feedback here.
I didn't know if we were gonna go with a greeting or a gospel moan like Eric did.
I like the gospel moan. Can you give me one,
Yeah,
Wilson?
I did too.
Give me one.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. I got Eric and Wilson with me. We're continuing to we're going into our connecting thread of films that we've been doing.
Yes.
And tonight is my pick. Wilson was the chooser last time. He chose Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. My choice for tonight. I don't know if you guys have seen this. It's been a while since I've seen it. It's called I Heart Huckabees.
I have not seen it, I don't think.
I've heard of them.
Maybe I have.
I've seen tidbits on TV. That's it.
Okay, so you kind of
I've heard of these Huckle Boys.
Huckle Boys, yeah.
I want to say. I want to say. Let me see here. I Heart Huckabees.
Well, don't look it up.
Well, no, I was making sure. Okay.
I was just looking it up.
Because I was trying to think if it was one I'd see like be on like USA or some shit like that.
Oh, sure. I Heart Huckabees is a film by David O. Russell, the director of like what did he do? The Wrestler. I don't know what was it called. The Fighter.
Yeah.
The Fighter.
The Fighter.
And then he did Joy, Silver Linings Playbook.
Yeah.
American Hustle. He kind of got popular with the
Is
Fighter.
American Hustle, is that the Tom Cruise one?
It's the Christian Bale, Jennifer Lawrence, Bradley Cooper. It's like a
I don't know that I've seen any of his movies.
Okay. Three Kings. Have you seen Three Kings?
No.
Have you?
I've seen 4.
That was with George Clooney, and Mark Wahlberg. But yeah, this one is Huckabees.
Was Ice Cube in that?
Yes.
Yeah. That was Ice Cube.
George Clooney.
That was.
He was the third king.
Cube.
He was the third.
Yeah, he was.
He was third king.
Yep. Give that man his due. Come on.
Yeah, he stole Saddam Hussein's.
His Majesty.
Saddam Hussein's money or gold bars or something like that. That's what it was about.
Yeah, something like that.
But I Heart Huckabees is a very strange film, which is partly why I chose it after Hitchhiker's Guide. And also there's an element in the Hitchhiker's Guide that was a pretty prevalent, part of that film. Whereas you guys, after you see this film, like right off the bat, you'll be wondering like, oh, is this really a thing that you can do? Because it's like a crazy cast. Like we have, what's her face? Lily Tomlin. Do you guys know who that is?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
We have Jude Law, Dustin Hoffman.
Gigolo Joe.
We have, what was our joke with Dustin Hoffman again?
Hot Dustin.
Hot Dustin.
Oh yeah, Hot Dustin. Dude.
we have Hot Dustin.
Yeah, there's a real Hot Dustin going on here.
I didn't even. I recently watched Rain Man for the first time and cried my eyes out at the end.
Yeah.
And I didn't think of Hot Dustin once. It never popped into my mind.
Good.
He really disappears into that role, dude.
Yeah.
You don't think
Into what? Hot Dustin?
No,
Loses himself in Hot Dustin.
Oh, it's his role in
Rayman.
in that movie.
He turns
in
into
Rayman.
Yeah.
He turns
Yeah.
into Rayman.
But
It's so
even
much
if
so
he-
that you don't even think about Hot Dustin.
No, Eric, it's not the quality of his acting that doesn't make me think of Hot Dustin. It's the ridiculousness and the, I don't know.
The hot
I'm
Dustin of it
ashamed.
all.
I'm ashamed of Hot Dustin.
I'm not ashamed.
But we also have Jason Schwartzman as the main character, who played a small bit
Yep.
part in The Hitchhiker's Guide. You like blink and you miss him. He was
Oh,
on one of the monitors.
Really?
Yeah.
oh, the Schwartzman.
And then Naomi Watts.
Isn't he Coppola adjacent?
Yeah, he's
Yes.
he's like a nephew of Nick Cage,
Yeah,
and Nick Cage is a Coppola also.
Coppola. Yep.
But yeah, that's who stars in it. It's I don't know if I can give a whole lot of it away. It's if I give a premise to you, you'll understand right away. I'll just say that Jason Schwartzman is the main character that goes to this place because he's kind of having a crisis in his life, and they're gonna survey him to figure out what the meaning behind his crisis is and how they can help him. But yeah, we'll talk more about it once we get into the film. It's a very fun, quirky movie. I'll say that, and I'd say it's a dark comedy for the most part.
Yeah, I would say that.
And yeah, that's really. I just want you guys to jump in and watch it for yourself, and maybe have your own discussion. Have our own discussion at the end if you connected with it at all.
I'm sure there will be some stuff in there.
But yeah, we'll jump into it and we'll get right back and we'll talk to you about it when we finish it.
Yeah.
And now, our feature presentation.
Huckabees. So there you have it. I heart Huckabees. What'd you guys think of it?
It was
I
great.
liked it. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
So do you you get my connecting thread a little bit?
Yeah.
It was quirky.
Okay, it was
The
the
Well, in
existential stuff.
in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, it was the question of what is the meaning of life, the universe, and everything.
yeah, there it
And
is.
That was definitely, like, it wasn't exactly phrased like that, but that was definitely what was covered in this movie.
And since
Yeah.
you try to find the answer to the ultimate question in this movie,
Yep.
they're trying to figure out what the ultimate question is.
Mhm.
That's
Right.
why they're asking all those things, and pure being, nothingness, existentialism, and
Pure
yeah.
bean.
pure being.
Yeah, some I would say transcendental stuff too,
Very
Yep.
much. Yep.
but it was a
But
lot
it
of
was
fun.
also
I did not know that this
very
movie
silly.
was like what this was about. I always thought that this was some kind of rom-com or something, just with
Oh.
the title and general cast of like Jude Law, Jason Schwartzman, and I was like, okay. But if I had known that it was about, this kind of philosophical,
And a,
quirky, fun,
yeah.
little like mystery thing,
I was gonna
would've
say
been all in.
I had a general idea that it was quirky. That was about it.
Mhm.
Fucking Marky Mark fucking killed it.
Yeah.
he was
Didn't
One of my
the
expect
favorite parts
Marky
of this
Mark.
movie.
he went like off the deep end right off the bat. Like
Yeah,
the
he
first
was one
showed
of my favorite
up.
parts of this movie. He
there's
went for it,
For
dude.
sure.
And all
For
his
sure.
varying hair lengths.
yep.
It's great.
Yeah, the hair. Can we just talk about the hair on people's heads? Because there was like
Varying
definite
lengths.
moments. You guys noticed more than I did, but once you pointed
Yeah.
it out, I started to notice it more. As like people's hair would just like sit super differently on their head, or sometimes it even looked
Yeah.
like they were different lengths.
Yeah.
Yep.
A little bit.
Marky Mark had about 2 or 3 different lengths. Schwartzman there were sometimes where he had days where his hair was really flat. And then there were some days where he had some weird like voluminous wave to it where it kind of puffed out a little bit. I
Yep.
don't know if it was length or if it was just the way it sat that day or what. If he washed it that day or some shit. I don't know. But yeah, it changed quite a bit.
And there's a big cast in this, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah, huge.
Yes. Quite a bit.
And
All the peoples.
even a young Jonah Hill. I think it's
John A. Hill, dude.
his first movie is this movie.
It's gotta be. This was 2004. When was the that college one that Justin Long was in that he was in?
Oh, that was
Justin Long was in that.
yeah, it was later.
Yeah. So Isla Fisher in a very small role
Yep.
as the new Huckabees girl
Mm-hmm.
randomly. Jason Schwartzman's mom, Talia Shire.
Mm-hmm. Tippi Hedren.
Fucking Tippi Hedren, the Boyds.
Tipster.
Yep. They
He
had
was tipping, dude.
Gene Smart and
Fucking
Yeah, Gene Smart showed up for a hot
Gene
second.
Smart, yeah. The dude who was the John C. Reilly's dad in fucking Step Brothers.
Yep.
yeah, I think I want to say his name's like
I
Richard,
love him.
Richard Jenkins.
And then you
I
had
think
fucking
that's
Sam Witwicky's dad from Transformers.
huh.
Yep, and the warden from Shawshank, Bob.
Yep.
Something Gunton, I think.
And then there's that one lady that was, I think she's Huckabees related. She was around Jude Law's character a lot.
Yeah,
Who was like, she was the.
her name was
I just remember her
Her name
from-
was Darlene. I think that's the actual actress's name. Like they called her
Okay.
Darlene in the movie. I think that might be her real name.
She was in Parks and Rec, and they were like, she was part of like a religious couple whose her husband
Yes.
Yes.
was
Yes.
gay, but not gay. Yeah.
Yep.
The gay but not gay.
Was gay, but was very much blinded by the Jeebus
Mm-hmm.
of it all. Fucking, yeah, dude, you could just list a bajillions of people. Well, and of course, the D Hoffs and the fucking, the Tomlins and all sorts of
I
people.
love your description, broad show of D Hoffs of Hot Dustin being like an like he looks Beatle-esque. So I just love
Yeah.
imagining him in this movie as like an angry, weird Beetle just running around like
he was very
being
weird.
some kind of weird mind
just-
parasite where like
You just never
anybody
let-
that he gets one-on-one interaction with, he starts infecting their brain with like start seeing the particles, start seeing the
Yeah.
shit between the shit, and like
Yeah.
he never left the mod era when everybody else did, you know?
yeah.
He likes
Fucking,
the French surrealist the painter guy
Yeah.
with the top hat or the bowler
Mhm.
hat.
Yeah. Fucking, yeah, there's
Bowler hat. I barely know her hat.
Yeah, it works.
Son of my head, to my head.
Did you guys expect?
Right.
Did you
Shania
expect
Twain was all over
Shania?
this movie, dude.
Yeah. Did you expect her to show up
Well,
though in person?
Yes, with the sheer amount of times that she got brought up, if she did not
Yeah.
show up, it would have been weird.
Okay.
Like how often
because her
he
name
was-
got brought up so many times. Or
if
cardboard
Jude Law had
standee-
said it once in the beginning, I was like, oh, okay, but yeah, it kept coming up, so
especially
I
since
expected the twain.
they would have had to get, I think, would have had to get her permission to have that fucking cardboard standee in there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
so at the very it's one of those things, and her music was in it, and I was just like, she got to be in here at some point. You know.
Yeah.
I heard something go choo choo, and I said, I hear a twain of coming.
Oh goddamn!
So yeah, the movie
Twain
is very much about a man who's in crisis and trying to
Yes.
find meaning in things. Kind of like what we're doing here was we're trying to find connecting threads. This is kind of like my other pick of, Under the Silver Lake, where you find connections, and this one
Yeah.
is kind of like everything is connected. And
Mm-hmm.
Jason Schwartzman is trying to realize that his coincidence of this African man that he keeps seeing is something that should be investigated by these people. But it turns out to be not what he expected. I would say he gets. It's interesting because these are detectives that he goes to investigate himself having coincidences, which I found like a really interesting like premise for like a job even. Like these people
Right.
do this for people. Like
Right.
figure out my crisis for me. I can't figure out myself, and I don't want to go like to therapy. And it is like a ongoing therapy session for him.
Mm-hmm.
And these people have to like analyze his day to day and figure him out for himself. It's very bizarre.
But they're almost not helpful.
No,
You know what I mean?
they let him figure it out himself. Like
No, they're not.
That's what the
They're just kind
existentialist
of there,
like crisis
yeah.
is. Is you
They're
have
like
to
observing. They're more
This-
observers than anything.
But they
The only
help
one
Yeah,
who actually
they're-
like
they guide him.
intervenes in things is the French lady.
Yeah, they
She's the
guide
only one that actually like
they
intervenes.
they all guide him in a weird way to figure out his own problems. They investigate the things that they make a file on him, and they investigate the things that he's worried about or has questions about. But then inevitably,
Yeah, like
he comes
they
up with
don't-
the conclusions.
yeah, exactly. Like they help him identify what the pieces are, but they don't tell him how to like figure it out.
Yeah, which is
Right.
it's a really cool premise, and there are parts of the movie that I mean, are way too out of my realm of thought, but a lot of it is very,
Like what?
Meaning-
What's outside of your realm of thought?
like, well, just the pure being nothingness. Like when
Yeah.
they go off the deep end and they're like, it's all dark, and they want to go dark with it. Like I've never had issues
yeah.
where like I go to a deep dark place in my
Sure.
in my existence.
Well, and that's the point of the French lady too. She brings them fucking dark.
Like
And then you get
aspects
I
of
love that.
nihilism and just like
Yeah,
Yes.
I love that scene of Schwartzman and Wahlberg fucking hitting themselves. The pure being scene where they're
the
hitting
pure
themselves with the whole
being.
fucking-
The pure being ball, man. I've always wanted to
Yeah.
try that. The pure being ball.
the pure
I mean,
being ball thing.
We've experienced some degree of pure being with like dodgeball and stuff.
Sure.
right.
Yeah. But
Also, Mark Wahlberg's character's name is Tommy Corn.
yeah.
Tommy Corn.
What are some of your guys' takeaways from it? Like some
What
things that,
I
that you
like-
liked.
So, one of the things I like Jude Law's character, ends up going through a similar
dickweed!
downfall. Yeah, ends up going through a similar downfall as Albert does towards the beginning. Because he starts fucking up when he starts getting all existential about shit. After they fucking play his fucking chicken salad fucking story a bunch. Then he starts fucking going down, and then he fucks up his job thing, and then all the people turn against him, and then fucking the coalition turns against him and wants him out, and it's like it mirrors essentially what happened to Albert towards the beginning, and and then that in turn then kind of doesn't bring them together really, but kind of does at the end when they're in the elevator going up and down a bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you
Yeah.
focused on that, because that was I think the biggest plot point was that was his main issue at the beginning, and it all comes full circle at the end when he realizes that Brad is his other.
That's what I was gonna say. He sees himself in Brad after
Yeah,
he has that
it's-
breakdown. Like
Yeah.
literally, after he has the breakdown and everything, and then he goes to his house, and his house is all fucked, and fucking Naomi Watts fucking fucks off with Mark Wahlberg, and like
That's why he says that was a bitchin' thing to do, man. Like
yeah,
that awoke in like his realization at the end. That's why there's like that confetti scene where he's like, I figured it
Yeah.
out. My existence. It's this.
and
I'm
he
connected.
fucking. But after the French lady takes Jude Law's picture with the thing, and then she tosses it down to Schwartzman, and Schwartzman looks at it, and then all of a sudden his face goes over Brad's face,
Yep.
and so he sees himself and what he's going through and what Brad's going through, and then this hatred for Brad turns into like this understanding that ends up,
Well, and
with the
Brad-
bringing them kind of together.
yeah, Brad has those mirroring thoughts. Like I thought of cutting you up with an axe. Like they both
Yep.
hate each other, but like that hatred,
Mhm.
it's mutual between them,
But
and they're like, oh, we figured this out.
you can say it's because they're so similar. They're different sides of a similar coin, of the same coin, right?
Yeah.
Where they're similar, and it might be because they're similar in different ways that they hate each other. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a good thing to focus on. That was, I would say, the biggest part of the movie. Anything else you like?
I'm fucking. I just fucking. I just was so joyous every time Marky Mark was on screen. Just made me happy.
Yeah, I'm that
I
way
think
with
this might be like,
Steven, the African kid.
yeah, Steven too. Dad.
Yeah, Steven was great.
I did not know. No, you did not reach Omega level.
Yeah.
You cannot reach Omega level.
But this might be like the most I've enjoyed Mark Wahlberg in a movie before. Maybe.
He was very much spastic.
Yeah,
and
well,
wild.
I mean, I
There
don't
wasn't
know.
there wasn't a scene with him in it where I was just like, okay, fuck, whatever, or like tuned out of. It was just like when he was on screen, I was just like, I was happy to be watching, you know?
He had some great scenes. Yeah, he was very goofy.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's because he was in a role where he didn't have to take himself or the character too serious, you know?
Yeah,
Like he could
yeah,
have fun with it while still delivering some potentially serious subjects and whatever. He could play with it and they're having some fun with it.
Yeah.
And
When he tells them, like, when they're Jason
he brought
Schwartzman,
levity a lot to times to things.
when they were in that
You know?
hotel room, he's like, I'm gonna go into a deeper pit of nothingness by myself. It's like,
God
fuck
damn
you,
it.
I'm taking my ball home.
Yep. That's it. That little kid just fucking. That's a lot. There was very like little kid type thing.
Yeah, like
that where he feels
a petulant
abandoned by his
a petulant
his
child.
friend and they're like, surrogate mother of sorts with that fucking French lady, where she picked him and fucked off, and he felt, don't leave me alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he's
And then-
like
and
telling
then
his
even-
daughter, you know who
Yeah.
made your shoes? Some kids that go blind in Somalia. And she's like, stop
Make
this from
$1.60
happening.
Make $1.67 a month. Yeah, stop this from happening.
Why does this
Don't make them
happen?
go blind.
Don't make them go
then, like,
blind.
And then even you see the kid stuff again when he does that sick ass skid into the fucking
Oh yeah,
the house when he gets there before everybody.
yeah. He's very
There's
much
a, there's a
a kid.
there's
Yeah.
a childlike sense of innocence to a degree.
Well, even that bit where Naomi Watts, she's like a child too, when she like gets
Oh, yeah.
really childish and goes back to work with like
Yeah.
dirty teeth and she's swinging the bags
Yeah.
around in those promos.
And maybe that's a purposeful thing where it's like where your
Overalls.
pure being or whatever is the closest you are to a pure being's when you're a child, right? Because you got nothing to worry about. You're just existing, right?
Good point.
And you're just fucking. So maybe that's part of it, and why those two are particularly more childlike is because they both
Yeah.
have kind of hit that wavelength and understanding of this whatever, you know.
Yeah, they're in tune with each other. That's why they become
Yeah.
others
Yeah,
for each other.
Yeah, when he fucking shows up in the house and then he goes down and then they just like she's on the floor passed out from smoke inhalation and wakes her up and then they just kind of like stare at each other.
They just
and
nod at
kinda
each
nod
other.
their heads at each other a little bit for a very long time in silence, and then to start making out and then pass out both from smoke inhalation at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That was great.
How about you, Wilson? What some things that stuck out to you?
I really liked a lot of the philosophical talk in this. I'm always interested in philosophy, and so I've been familiar with a lot of these different aspects and the kind of like playful way that they treated a lot of it, but at there were moments where it was like very serious, like that scene with Jude Law, where they're repeating like, how what was it they were saying, like, how do I know who I am, or
how am
something
I
like
not
that?
myself?
Yeah, how am I not myself?
Yeah.
And that's
They
a
put that at the
very
end of the movie too, after the credits.
that's actually a very intense, like, emotional scene, and
Yep.
Yeah,
um,
it came
A lot
after
of realization
it came after
yeah.
they talked about his brother and how he thinks he's a good older brother, and they're like, well, we talked to your younger brother, and he wishes you would listen to him more and be
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I hang out with his
It's
geckos
kind of
and
it's kind of what kickstarts his kind of
it does.
existential
Because
breakdown.
they play back his story that he keeps telling about Shania and the
Yep.
chicken salad.
Chicken
well,
salad.
they're like
Chicken
you guys were
salad.
saying, like, Jude Law and Jason Schwartzman are two sides of the same coin, where like
Yep.
Jason Schwartzman approaches his existential, like, breakthrough in this movie from a standpoint of like, I understand that I'm going through a crisis, and
Right.
he goes to these detectives and says, help me solve this.
Yeah, good point.
Jude Law's part of it is that he gets involved kind of by happenstance,
And he doesn't know he's in a crisis.
yeah, it has to be revealed to him by somebody else. So like,
Yep.
Jason Schwartzman is like able to be in the middle of it, but still navigate it somehow, even kind of
Yep.
blindly. He's still able to like go day to day with it.
Yep.
Jude Law, he is operating how he's always operated, not knowing he's in a crisis, and then it gets
Yep.
dumped in his lap, and he crashes hard. But by the end, when they're in the elevator, like you said, they don't like become close to each other, but they
Yep.
are able to see things from the same perspective, kind of from the first time.
Yeah. It's
And-
like. Sorry.
I just be somebody like the part that I really really like about this movie, the part that makes it like so fun and quirky, and it makes it feel like something like Being John Malkovich, or like Toys, or gosh, maybe even Under the Silver Lake, where it's like this slightly surreal fantasy stuff going on, is the detectives of the existential crisis.
Yeah.
Being somebody who's gone through like kind of existential crises before in my life, or had like big
Yeah.
episodes of like, fuck, I'm super depressed, how do I deal with this?
Yep.
It's fun and encouraging to see this movie depict like a really active form of therapy, basically, where you go to these existential detectives and you're like, help me figure out my crisis, and they're like, okay.
Yeah.
It's fun.
To further your point, or your building on the different side of the same coin thing too. Schwartzman's character realizes his existential crisis and seeks out those detectives to help him, like in a more active role, where his is just kind of crumbles in front of him. Whereas fucking Jude Law, he's not cognizant of it, and they have to come to him
Mm-hmm.
and expose it. And his is a more dramatic, or a faster crumble, right?
Right. He did it as a
Schwartzman's kind of
joke.
crumbles.
He thought he was doing it as a joke to like hurt Albert, because he just wanted to hurt him.
Yeah.
But he was actually,
Yeah.
two sides of the same coin, hurting himself in the process.
It's that classic thing that like honestly happens in real life all the time, where somebody just like, for either a joke or through some circumstance of like, just basically circumstance or coincidence, they get introduced to a new sphere of this world, and then all of a sudden they're entrenched in it, and they find themselves like, how the fuck did I end up here?
Right.
Yep. I agree. No, there's a lot of good things that come out of this story, like you can take and apply to your life a little bit and come to an understanding, like, okay, crisis should be analyzed, and why is this crisis happening to me? And it does help to talk to people about it, I would say, and understand
100%.
Yep.
Yep.
Sorry, go you go ahead, Harry.
I was just gonna say that the way it was approached and done in this is good because it's like it making a movie about those types of themes can be like overwrought and heavy-handed and whatever, but this one has a lot of levity with the humor and the
Mhm.
lighthearted moments and the so it makes it more digestible. Where if you're playing it straight, it could seem just like a lot of fucking you know
Like too heavy to handle.
jargon and yeah, right.
Yeah, like it's really nice that it ends in a positive message. The majority of like the the philosophical talk in the movie is about like some sort of, if not positivity, just like acceptance
Mhm.
of your circumstances in the world around you and being okay with that. And it's not. It's even nice that like Jude Law is somebody who you might see as like the antagonist to the movie, is somebody that goes through a similar journey and who also finds a portion of peace within their own journey. It's nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, he turns into like a secondary or protagonist later. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
very
Yeah, I
much.
mean it's nice. Like I would be God, I'd be so happy if we had only a movie about Dustin Hoffman's character.
Same.
Like
Well, and
his day
Lily
to
Tomlin.
day.
I love Lily Tomlin in this too.
Well, of course she would be in it because if it's a movie about him, she's a big part of his life. But
She's so good.
She
I
plays
just
a
want to
good
see him like,
counterpoint to his character.
She
You
just
know,
jumped into the
yeah.
back of her car.
she's she's the more like quote unquote serious one, where he's a little bit
Hmm.
more out there.
He's kind of aloof,
I
yeah.
just
But I
I
like
just
that.
love the exemplified best by just that one scene where he's just got the chalk on his back the whole time.
And he's like, uh huh,
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, Dustin Hoffman was really funny, and I,
Yeah,
I Lily Tomlin is always going to be funny to me.
Yep.
yeah, she's just solid, dependable. That's a word we can use for Lily
So,
Tomlin.
Eric, it's your choice off of this, right?
Yeah.
That's
Hmm.
right.
So
This kind
I
this kind of
I kind of
reminded
know.
me
Yeah.
some of the ideas of this movie kind of reminded me of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Good takeaway.
Yeah, I got those. Was it Wes Anderson?
That's John Bryan also, Wilson, if you didn't know. He did the
Oh,
score for that movie too.
Um,
yeah. It has a kind
Maybe
of
that's
Wes
why it reminded
Anderson
you of it,
feel.
the music.
That's
I,
Wes Anderson, right? Or Paul? No, the PTA or
I
Wes?
What do you mean?
I don't remember.
Eternal
I
Sunshine.
only saw it once.
Oh, Michel Gondry.
Oh, that's Gondry.
Yeah.
God, why did I think
Um,
it was one of them movies?
I don't think it was the music. I definitely think it was the ideas and the themes of the mind. And
Okay.
I mean, Spotless Mind was a lot more about like memory
Relationships and memories.
and
Yep.
trauma and yeah, like relationships, whether they be romantic or not.
Yep.
And
We had Frodo and the
but
Hulk in that movie.
it's the
Yeah.
same, a lot of the same kind of ideas of like
And The Mask. The Mask was in that movie
a
too.
very kind of like
And Mary Jane.
Spotless Mind was like a lot more like um gosh, how do I say it? It just more arty or like fantastic with its depiction of tackling these mental issues.
Yeah. What if you could
Um
erase memories of people? Like that's a really broad kind of like premise. Like, hey,
yeah, what if you could erase aspects of your mind that cause you pain?
yep.
And then how do you live your
Right.
life like that, but it I just I appreciate movies like this that kind of go out of their way to like you said, Eric, like they cover like a good subject matter that has some heft to it, but without being too heavy and without
Yep.
getting too fucking bogged down and everything.
good ability to bring levity to something like that.
Yep.
Gene Levity.
So good pick. You guys liked it?
Yep.
Cool.
Good
Yep.
pick. My I don't know. I would guess equal props given to both the writing team and the actors, because scenes like him sitting down to dinner with Jean Smart and her husband and that whole family is like so much fun.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Conflicting ideologies and they're like fighting each other. And when Marky Mark is on the screen, he's just gonna yell petroleum. That's what I love about it. You guys aren't talking about the issues. The real issue is petroleum.
So like I have where I'm going with the next movie, but I spent a lot of the time trying to figure it out, trying to pick up on things and think about things while watching the movie, and then like a lot of my brain was just going like this actor, this actor, this actor, this actor, and then I was just like, no, I should look for some random, just seemingly inconsequential things, and I definitely did, and it's tangential to like it's the purest like definition of the word tangential when it comes to this.
If it's the thread that is like bringing you somewhere, then I say go with it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a movie I've wanted to do for a while, so it might just be me finding a way to get this movie in here. But like at the same time, there were specific instances that made me think of this movie, or specific little things that made me think about it. So
great. We do have a bonus video to watch.
Real quick before we move on from this.
Sure.
This is, now that I'm thinking about it, the ideas of this movie, especially the ones presented by Dustin Hoffman, remind me of Repo Man.
Oh, nice.
Everything that they're talking about under the bridge is basically a like, just a more focused version of what Dustin Hoffman was talking about, where he's like, somebody says plate of shrimp, and then later on in the day you see a sign that says plate of shrimp. Like everything's connected.
Wow. I'm glad you brought that up, because I forgot about that whole dialogue between them. But yeah, that was a big part of Repo Man, was like thing being connected and seeing those things visually in Repo Man. You see plate of shrimp as like a street sign or something like that.
Shrimp.
Ever since, I mean, I've always
shrimp.
kind of like
pocket shrimp.
Ever since I've seen Repo Man, I've started to take that idea of like somebody says this, and then later on in your day or whatever, you see the same thing, or that just general idea. How
aware of things.
I'm paying
like
more attention to like, what are characters saying in these shows, like names of places, people, things. What are they showing me? What am I seeing more often than something? Are they showing me a pencil a lot? Like, why should I be focusing on a pencil? Let me just like, what should I be thinking about? What should my mind trying to be wandering on and trying to expand like ideas upon? You know,
that's kind of like what this exercise is. What we're doing here.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
Everything's connected, bro. Threads upon threads.
So,
everything's
Eric, were you going to say something?
About what?
Did you have something to say? Like
about what?
There was overlapping talk. I thought you just let Wilson go and then you were going to go.
Oh no.
Okay.
If I did, it's fucking. It's gone.
I mean, you do that same thing too, Eric. Maybe you don't like phrase it in those terms, but like, I know that you certainly watch like Marvel movies with the same like ideals kind of in place of like, okay, are they gonna say something? I should keep my eye out, and I will. And I know that you will know when that thing comes up. Like,
Yes. Yeah, 100%. Um,
That's true.
the the one last thing I'll say. This is something I put out to everybody who watches movies and TV. It's a fun little game, and I play it every time. When you're watching a movie where it's got like a British person or somebody playing, using an American accent, listen to see if/when their accent peaks out, because it's always really fun. Jude Law happens to quite a bit in this movie, and you're just like, oh, there it is. Oh, there it is. Just a fun little game. Just a fun little game.
Yep.
Highly recommended.
So do you think the question to the ultimate answer is how am I not myself?
How am I not myself? Yeah.
I
Exactly what it is.
don't think so. I think it's a good question to lead you, because the thing about this movie is that their approach to the question, it's not that the question they didn't say that the question is what is the meaning of life, the universe, and everything. The detectives tried to figure out what is your question. It was very personal to each, person going through their crisis.
Yeah,
They helped them figure out what questions to ask so that they could find the answers.
I was mostly being facetious about it, but yeah.
I know, but it's still thoughts that I had on the movie. It is that like I've thought about, like, they kept saying it, so that's one thing that my mind started thinking about is the term "how am I not myself?" Well, I mean, it's a very good question to ask, especially if you're going through a crisis. Is trying to reflect upon, like, how do I view myself? What do I expect of myself? What do I, how do I see myself treating others? And like, am I not living up to that? Am I doing more than I need to and wearing myself out? Am I like not fulfilling the things that I want of myself, of being like, who do I want to be and how do I be that person? And obviously that's not like an easy question.
No.
And I don't know that a lot of people have an answer to that question, but I certainly think that, like, the more work that you do to finding an answer to that, the, like, more successful that you can be, not even in life as like business or money or anything, but just as a person. Like, you'll just accomplish more of what you want to accomplish because you know more about that answer of who you are.
Yep.
Yeah. It came from a question they asked Albert, or what was his name? Jude Law's character, Brett, or whatever.
Brad.
You're Brad.
They told him, like, you're not being yourself, because he was being, kind of jokingly, like, repeating what they're saying back to them, and they're like, okay, what is this game? You're not being yourself. He's like, how am I not myself? And like, that came out of him just as like a retort back to them, and they're like, wait, how am I not myself? And they started saying it, and he's like, how am I not myself? Like, seriously, I'm asking you.
How am I not myself?
They got stuck in that loop, and they're like, oh, that's maybe what existentialism is how am I not myself? And reflecting on that, which is a very poignant part of the film, I'd say.
Yeah, how, like, gosh, what does it mean to be me is a big question.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll be back with more deep talk, more movies.
Do you guys have any idea that you feel like you have an answer to that question of who am I and
nope.
What does being me mean?
What does me? No.
I would just fathom an idea, and it would just be me reflecting on a bunch of random things. Like, it's so hard to really analyze that question.
Yeah. There was a time when I was like really thinking about stuff like that, but I realized that I've already just got a really over analytical mind, and I was just like, this doesn't do me any good.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, for me personally,
it's healthy to think about that. Like,
it is.
Yeah,
I'm not saying don't think about it. I was just like, yeah. For me, it was like, it one of those things where it's just like one question opened a door that opened another door that
Yeah,
opened
that's kind of
another door, and I
where
was just
I'm
like,
at. Yeah.
yeah, where it's just
So
like my brain is too too overthinky to keep doing that right now.
yeah.
So
It's like
Well,
that.
do you guys think that like, and you already kind of answered the question, both of you, but do you think that asking that question of yourself is like a not necessarily important thing, but like a good thing for any random person to do?
yeah, I think it's a healthy thing to think about. I don't think it's a healthy thing to dwell on too much, though.
No.
You know, but
No,
no,
not dwell.
nothing's good to dwell on too much.
Hmm.
But that's definitely one of those things you can dig a big fucking hole for yourself in and get lost in, and you might
Yeah.
end up getting nihilistic about it. You know what I mean?
But that's exactly what happened to both of these
Mhm.
characters. I mean,
Mhm.
maybe not Brad because he didn't meet up with
Yeah, he got the card at the
the
end.
nihilist woman,
He's
but
working on that
Yeah.
part right now, probably after the
but
credits.
Right.
yeah, I mean, Brad never asked himself that question
No.
probably until it was like posed to him, basically. Like he said it, and then they said it back to him, and then he was like, "Oh shit, wait, what?"
Yeah.
That's what he needed to hear.
Mhm.
And maybe the coincidences that Jason Schwartzman was having made him ask himself that question. Like it just came to him of like, I don't know, tangentially, how am I not being myself or something related to that?
Right.
Yeah. Being cognizant that you're in a crisis is you trying to figure out you're not being yourself and why is this happening to me and contemplating
Yeah.
the meaning of life and everything like that.
Yeah.
But you better understand yourself when you do like reflect on that stuff and then you can kind of
Mhm.
like understand where other people are going, like you can understand their like moods or like
Oh yeah.
when I do that, like, oh, I've been in this person's position at this point and I can like visually see they're going through a crisis, like
Yeah.
with small little ticks or things they do, mannerisms. I'm like, all right, they're going through something, or if they're like really short with me, like with their answers or anything. Like I found myself,
Mhm.
in the professional setting of my work, I'd be like, all right, they're going through something right now. They're being overly
Yeah.
quiet right now, and they're doing things that are not really themselves. They're not being themselves, and I'm like, okay, I have a better understanding of other people's emotions after like reflecting on myself,
Right.
Hmm.
and that helps me a little bit. I don't like actively like, hey man, you going through something? You want me to help you? I'm not like
No.
that. I'm like, I
Just
understand.
helps you understand.
I
Yeah.
understand. I understand this.
Yeah.
This
It's
mood.
it's it it yeah, it's seeing that in yourself through, through thinking about stuff like that and going through that. Um it it gives you awareness, right? And it allows you to see that stuff in other people.
You're pure being.
And
You're pure being.
yeah, yeah. And you're, while like you may not, you're not necessarily going to be, hey, like you were saying, hey man, well, so you got something going on, or like or you may not know the person or whatever, or you can see something in them, and it helps you understand. It can help you understand a complete stranger who may be
What
acting in a way that you might not, uh, you know, be, or that other people may not understand or may not, you know, get
Yeah.
or feel
Eric,
comfortable around. Yeah.
if you had to put it into words, what does
Hmm.
pure being mean to you?
Pure being.
Yeah, like
Um,
what does the feeling or like the experience of pure being mean to you, Eric?
to me, it
Yeah.
is, um,
Taking a big shit.
it's pure
Want to drop a
being
duke?
to me is the, like, existence without the all of the trappings and weights of um, life, I guess,
Drama.
or 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 yeah, or existing
Without drama. That's how I put it.
existing as yourself in spite of that. You know what I mean? Like either
Oh yeah, that's
either or.
wonderful.
Either
That's
or.
wonderful.
It's either existing without it or existing in spite of it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
one
I
is
think that's
easier
great.
to attain than the other, and the one that's easier to attain is existing in spite of it.
Yeah.
The only time you can exist without it, like I said, is I think when you're a child, right? When
Yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
have all of the
weight
the
of
invasive
life.
thoughts and all the weight. Yeah, when you're purely existing at that point. But
Yeah.
once you get past that, it's the in spite of it, you know,
Yeah.
existing in spite of it.
I think
Yeah.
I feel very much the same as you, Eric. It just the phrasing in my head was different. I just thought like I think it's living without or living with being able to accept the drama or like
Yep.
I would hope you could say like not worrying about like living without worrying. And that just
Right.
means like accepting that the bad things happen and when they do happen like recognizing that but still moving on anyways and just trying to do the best you can.
Yeah, a lot of people focus
Yep.
on the drama a lot, and like they
Yep.
dwell in that space because I don't know if they are, I don't know, some sort of masochist or sadist, like they like feeling that way or just like the drama and it gets them off or in a weird way. Because I know people that like to start drama and stay in that space where it's like you're making
And maybe
making life harder for yourself by focusing
yeah,
on it.
maybe their personalities just thrive on it and they don't even know it. Don't know.
Yeah, like I said,
A
everybody's
lot of people
different.
just can't get past it. Yeah.
No, they just like to sit in
It's
that.
too much of a roadblock.
Well,
And
it's
for
I
a
don't
lot
see
of
that as
people,
healthy. I don't see that as healthy in my
no,
oh
I
case.
think
gosh, no.
for a
No.
lot of people that is a roadblock, but you it's on you to kind of to take action and figure out, you know, the kind of way to get not past, well, to get through it, not necessarily past it, but like to realize, yes, this sucks, this is whatever, but you're gonna come out on the other side of it. It's gonna suck in this
Yeah.
time, but on the other side of it, no matter how small or big it is, or how long or short the amount of time is, you know. So it's like you kind of you learn to, you know, kind of to, you know, I don't know, to turn lemons into lemonade.
Roll with the changes, right?
You do, yeah.
But
To fucking
but
roll with
they
the change. Yeah. That's
but
another
that
good
only
half change
comes
song, by the way.
because like when you're going through a big enough crisis, you're experiencing grief, and obviously there's the
Mm-hmm.
5 stages of grief, and
Mm-hmm.
the last one is acceptance, and that like
Mm-hmm.
let's
is not
expedite and
there's
get to right accepting.
yeah. I mean, there's no time frame
The
on
other
that
thing,
for
you have to.
it's
That's
for some people it's like super quick, and
exactly.
some for some people it's a lot longer.
Right,
That's
exactly.
the ironic part of it is you have to accept acceptance. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You have to
Yeah, you do.
you have to accept
You
that
do.
you have to accept this. You know what I mean?
Mhm. But
It's exception inception.
I mean, if you learn that, you can hopefully
Yeah.
get to a place of like being in that pain and still being like
Yeah.
to yourself, like, yes, this sucks, but it will get better.
Yeah, it's learning. It's a lot of learning how not to dwell and learning how to kind of live in the moment and not you know, depression is, you know, worrying about the past, and anxiety is worrying about the future, and so it's like it's living in the moment that kind of breaks you outside of that. Um, it's easier said than done, obviously,
Yeah,
but
everybody's worried about something
um,
that happened before or something that's coming up.
yep.
Nobody ever like
Yep.
thinks about what's happening now in this moment.
What's happening now, and that's kind of what I learned in moments and spans of times where I was just hugely like either depressed or anxious, or that'll happen simultaneously too. Is like the simple thing for me was like to keep me in the moment was like, say I'm driving around, right? It's literally focus on what's right in front of you. So it's just like there's a tree, there's a stop sign, there's a car, there's a squirrel, there's a store, there's a what, you know what I mean? Like this really mundane, just like there's this, this, this. So your brain is actively engaged in the here and now and not left to wander and think about the past or present, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a silly, like, simple trick, but it really worked for me. And like in those times, and it helped me realize while it was a tool, like a tool I had needed to utilize in that to kind of get by, it helped me learn in the not metaphysical, but in just in the mental sense of just knowing that like how important it is to stay present, because that actually works. You know what I mean? It actually kind of helps break you of that cycle. And it doesn't, it's not always, that was an extreme situation where literally if I didn't do that, my mind was just wandering all over the place. So I had to be, this, this. But now it's a little looser, right? Where I it's more focusing on my day or my task or my whatever, something that's a little more nebulous than immediately what's in front of me, but it's still focusing on the present, right?
Yeah.
I definitely, like, when I get hit with those double whammies of depression and anxiety at the same time, I get a lot of the like feelings of hopelessness and just like not motivated.
Yep.
And what really helps get me like out of that depression and anxiety and being in the moment and feeling more full is like finding a either like hobby I haven't touched in a while, or a new hobby, or like something to really be able to like put my time and my passion into.
Yep, that's perfect.
And that does exactly like kind of what I was talking about, where it forces you to be in the moment because you have to focus on that thing right in front of you. Because
I mean, it's perfect
for lack of a better
somebody...
word, it's a distraction, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like great,
not in the negative way distraction, but it's a thing to occupy your mind, right?
Yeah. I mean, it works, and it's not the like unhealthiest thing that somebody could do for
it's very
feelings of depression or anxiety, but
it's very healthy.
It can be very rewarding for somebody like us who gets a lot of like enrichment out of their general life from consuming media, where we take away a lot of the ideas and themes and lessons, and we do that tangential thing, we do that connection thing with everything else.
Yep.
Well, everything is connected, like the blanket at the very beginning, remember? This
Yep.
is you,
Yeah.
this is me, this is the Eiffel Tower, this is an orgasm.
It's all
Everything's connected, even though like everything's different, but it's all the same. It's under the same
Why
sheet.
is this weird little beetle pinching a bed sheet in front of me?
Yeah. But all this talk leads in perfectly to my bonus video. It just takes about 17 minutes, so if you stick with me, I'll be right back.